Companions, welcome to Noah Urmi's Tale. I represent Fold's second film, And Your Fault. Ajna, having reached her 18th year, was gaining experience at Nikisko, yet encountered Noah that particular evening. Their rendezvous did not bring joy to their parents, nevertheless, they persisted in meeting clandestinely. One gave Noah a necklace as a token of love. They spent the next few days together, but soon the time came. Noah's college-going friends Leon scared Nick by saying that our girls will go to college and get distant from us. They will meet school boys and we will become distant. So Noah's school ended and they gifted her a car. Nick took Noah to a house saying it was gifted by his grandfather and is very close to her college. Perfect for them, Noah and Nick began to set up again. Noah questioned how she could stay here instead of the hostel, to which Nick insisted she would live. But Nick wasn't talking about Noah living there, so she got angry. The scene shifted to a club where Noah and Nick shared these matters with their friends, but the partnership was foundering. Subsequent to this, Noah made his way to her college residence the following morning. She was to cohabit the space with another young woman. Concurrently, Nick's father acquainted him with a fresh legal counsel, Sophia, assigned to assist him during his practical training. Nick was to co-occupy his workspace with Sophia. Conversely, Noah's mother endeavored to initiate a conversation with her. But Noah didn't want to talk, so her mom showed her a picture of her with Nick, saying to stop it all or else these things would go public. Noah's mom says that she is still too young and doesn't know what is right or wrong. She made it clear such things will not be tolerated in their house. So after a while, Nova met Nikki, who told her that he would also work here now, but he had another intern with him. Here, Nick makes sure Sophia stays out of Nova's sight so she doesn't feel insecure. When Nova arrived at her college apartment, Brad was having a party there. She didn't know that Nova would come so early. Unable to stay at her home, Brian told her not to be sad, and at that moment, a boy named Mike came. He was also doing an internship at this college. Here, Sophia and Nick are together, and bringing them together was part of Nova's mom's plan. The shift changed the next day and Nick and his sister Maggie played together, but then Nicky's mom came here with the excuse of Maggie. She wanted to talk to Nick for a minute. He simply can't bear to glance at Panikant. The sight of his mother brings him sorrow, given she abandoned him a decade ago. Subsequently, Nick presented Nova with a romantic message. However, Nova wasn't fond of the gesture. In response, Nova ended up inflicting lasting scars on Nick. The two then proceeded to Nova's university flat. At that location, Nick encountered Briar and was utterly dumbfounded. He inadvertently left his mobile phone there. Nick seemed to be acquainted with Briar in some manner. While at Nova's residence, a call came through on Nick's cell phone. It was his companion Line, phoning from a taxi driver's device. Without delay, Nick made his way there. Line was supposed to drop off a parcel, which to his dismay contained narcotics, and the prospect of bringing it indoors petrified him. Nick reminded himself of the vow to Nova to steer clear of such entanglements. Hearing this, he went inside alone. Nick's friend followed to support him, but then Nicky's phone saw them there. Nova, Nick's enemy Ronnick's elder brother, was the leader of these goons. He is currently in jail but will be released soon. So this goon said which package has less goods. Nick says I will give them money, but they don't want money, they want their lives. People deliberately start teasing Nikonova in the bar and Nova starts a fight here. Nikonova was arrested by the police after a fierce fight at the bar. Now here Sophia somehow gets those people released. Panwa was angry with Nick. Even though you did my mind, you started all this again. She says if anything happens to you, what will happen to me? So from here they both go to a paternity. Nikonova adopted cat Anne. And here we find out that Barer had been in a car accident with her boyfriend some time ago. 2 months later, when she came out of the Royal Hospital, her boyfriend was with someone else. Furthermore, this boyfriend happens to be the one and only Nikki. But at this time, Briar was nowhere to be seen, so Nova suggested they seize the moment. Just as they were about to take the chance, Briar unexpectedly appeared. She insisted that things go as planned, expressing her fear of Nick Bara. Once he departed, Barber observed him from afar. The following day, his beloved girlfriend paid him a visit, expressing her thoughts. I implore you not to proceed with this transaction solely for financial gain. Our bond transcends the value of money. Yet despite this, Lane perceived himself as inferior to his significant other. Meanwhile, Nikki's mother encountered Nova elsewhere. I wish to speak with Nick alone, she explained. Nikki's mother cautioned that there are numerous matters you are still unaware of, much like your mother. How long has your father been with you? He said that if you want to know all this, then call me. And after this, when Noah reached his house here, Sophia's family had come to have dinner with his family. Then Noah started running after seeing their families and nikot Sophia's jugalbandi. She tells everyone at the dinner table that Nick and I are thinking of living together. Nova arose and departed. Nick followed after her. A year had already passed since the demise of Ajna's dad. Nova remarked, "Your folks are correct. You both are a lovely match." Yet Nick remains silent, saying, "There's nothing between us." To which Nova countered, "Sure, that's the reason for your distance. You prefer not to have me near you." And thus the following day at their residence, Nick's mother turned up and Nova welcomed her inside. The house was empty, so Nick's mother demonstrated to Nova that she hadn't betrayed Nick's dad, who was the one that was unfaithful and engaged in an affair with your mother. Nick's grandfather concealed this scandal with assistance from his lawyers, and Nick resents me because I abandoned him. Holding Nick's father's toothbrush, she implored, "I beg of you, convey this letter to Nick." But conversely, Nick's dad had warned Nick to maintain a distance from his mother, suspecting that she might be scheming something. Later, Nova arrived and surreptitiously placed the letter on Nick's desk, which infuriated him. He was puzzled over the letter's presence. Upon witnessing Nick's demeanor, Sophia mentioned it was delivered by a messenger, but Nick destroyed the letter. Subsequently, he invited Nova to a dinner outing. A sketch by Nova was etched as a tattoo on Nick's hand, and they began to dance in unison. Nevertheless, Nick then informed her of his imminent trip to London for a business engagement with Sophia for several days. Nova acknowledged, understood. Nick requested Nova to vow to remain within their flat during his absence. Nick was anxious about leaving Nova by herself with Brad, but the day after, Nova's mother arrived at their place. Nova confronted her mother about keeping her and Nick apart, to which Nova's mother affirmed, "Indeed, for I don't desire my child to cohabit with anyone presently." So Nova says, "Then you ask me, on the evening when Dad attacked, whose embrace were you in at the high-end hotel?" Nova carries her cat out of the apartment. Meanwhile, Nick inquires his granddad concerning Blair. "Grandfather, what made you tell me to conceal that moment?" Nick's grandfather comforts him, ensuring everything's managed merely days later. The case gets closed. He and Sophia started celebrating their happiness together, but a photographer was taking their pictures. After that, makeup goes to the apartment, but Nova wasn't there. She was with Briar, where Briar had invited Michael. She left Nova and Michael alone in her room. No one comes drunken. She suggests to Michael, "Let's continue the game after a while." Nova stayed away from Michael, yet Nick witnesses them. There was no error by Nova, yet Nick felt furious upon seeing them. Nick states, "Didn't I tell you to remain in the flat, didn't I?" She responds, "I was in need of space from everyone. Is my trustworthiness in question?" Nick replies, "Fine, I've got a stopover in London as well." Sit. So make your choice in a week's time on your course of action. I must respond to the job proposal within 7 days. Nick and Nova began to live apart. One afternoon, scrolling through Instagram, Nova spots an image of Nick. She grasped the full picture. In the meantime, Nick encounters his buddy Linné, plotting to attend a racing event. Leon anticipates earning some cash from the race. And Ronnie will also be in the race, so Nick can take his revenge. Nicole and Leon first went to Nick's house from there, and then they took the car to the race where they encountered Ronnie. But along with them, Nova and Jen also arrived. As soon as they saw Leon, they understood they were coming. The race began among them, and as soon as the race started, Blair called the police. The race that was already so difficult became even more challenging with the arrival of the police. First, Janak's vomit caused Ronica to collide, and when the police blocked their path with a car, Nikonoa sandwiched Roniko's car and made it crash into the police car. Nikonoa easily escaped while Roniko got caught again by the police. At Asni's house, there was a party where Nick arrived with Sophia and Nova with Briar. Nick asked Nova, "Have you reached a conclusion?" Nova mentioned that the final evening of a week awaits. She conveyed to Nick her desire for a conversation, prompting Briar to unlock the rear entrance to their residence. Together, they step inside. Nikki's mother declares her intention to discuss important matters with the group. Nikki's mother unveils the reality concerning Nick's father and his own mother. She disclosed that her younger offspring Maggie shares Nick's father as her biological parent, which entitles her to a portion of his estate. Nick's father was perplexed about the acquisition of his genetic material. Nova admitted to letting them access it. Upon hearing this, Kinu's resentment toward her mother intensified for causing such devastation. Nova asserted her intent was solely to present him with the truth and had plans to express at the stroke of midnight her wish to remain by his side. However, Nick was unresponsive. His affectionate gesture towards Sophia at the festivity left Nova utterly heartbroken. Briar arrived, presenting aged snapshots of Nick and Sophia to her surreptitiously. Also took Nova's apartment desires. By the time Nick realized his mistake and returned, Nova had already left. Briar then revealed that when their accident occurred, she was pregnant with Nick's child, but his grandfather ended everything. She claimed she didn't know anything about it then, but would seek revenge. She claims she returned to her apartment, yet in truth, she visited Michael's place merely as a companion, where Michael proceeded to switch off Nova's phone. Providing comfort and consolation, he drew nearer to Nova. They shared numerous activities, but shortly thereafter, Nova departed, while Nick found himself waiting outside her dormitory. Nick understood everything by seeing Nova. Both of them moved away from each other without saying anything, but a few days later, when Nova reached after hearing news about her dad, there was a message from Nick saying, "Nova, I'll always be your light in the darkness." Friends, that's the end of the movie. How was the explanation? Please let us know in the comments, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.